Hello and welcome to the Kyocera Command Center setup for the taskalfa 0 machines. When you've entered the static IP of the copier into your web browser or the DHCP IP address obtained from the machine's status page, go ahead and enter it here. Hit enter. The first time it might ask you to, there's a problem with the certificate, just hit continue to go in or hit add to the safe list. You're going to want to go ahead and log in with the username and password admin capital A for both. And once you're in, go down to the settings on the left hand panel. And right off the bat, well, first thing we're going to do is go to this basic tab here. And we're going to click on device defaults. We're going to scroll down and enter in the location or the business name of the customer. And then once that's done, we'll hit submit. And that'll apply. The next thing we want to do is go to time on the left hand side over here, turn summertime on, and enter your preferred time server. Mine in this case is time.windows.com. Once that's entered in, you'll be able to hit submit. And if you're already on DHCP, you can hit synchronize, but usually I just wait to do this because I need to test the DNS when we do this later. So now you're done with that. You're going to go to scanner. We're going to change this setting for scan to email. This is just the subject line so that the emails don't get caught up as spam. So I'm going to say scan from Kyocera copier. Do not reply. Hit submit. And then if the customer has a fax, you would want to hit fax here and enter in their TTI. And this will be under the, I do believe under transmit. I'm sorry. Under here, fax defaults. Here, their number. I usually separate each group with space, since that's how you do it on the panel of the machine. And I usually turn the monitor volume off, unless they say they want to hear the fax tone. Just hit submit when you're done with that. And I do believe it's, let's see if it might be defaults here. Yeah, so default under common is the name. So go ahead and enter the name and put a space in between each thing, or all caps is usually easier to read. And once you do that, hit submit, and your TTI is set. So we'll move on to the next group, which is the advanced tab. This is where we're going to set up the network and everything else. So you want to click on TCP IP to start things off. If you're on DHCP, you'll want to turn that off over here, and then enter in your IP address, subnet mask, and gateway. And then you'll also want to enter in the DNS, and this is important mainly because you'll need this to scan to email and scanning to folder. I entered in my DNS was OpenDNS, so 208.67.222.222. That's my preferred one. My secondary server is this, only with 220 on the end. You can use any DNS server for this. You can use the router as the DNS server, which is the gateway, or you can use the ISP DNS as well, or such as Google DNS. And then usually make sure IPv6 is turned off. We don't need that. And then once you have all this entered in, just go down to the very bottom here, hit submit. And once we're done with that, we'll move to the next section, which will be the SMTP server. So we'll click here. So by default, this is turned off. You'll want to turn this on and enter in your port number for your SMTP server. Mine in this case is 25, using unencrypted email server. So I enter in my SMTP server here. You can enter name or IP address, doesn't matter. And authentication is off by default, so you'll want to turn that on in my case. And then it's normally on pop 1, you choose other, enter in your username and password for your account, and then choose the security. In my case, I have no security, so I'll be off. If you were port 587, you would probably use Start TLS, and if you were port 465, you would use SSL TLS. Scroll down here and enter in the email address of the account, and then anything else you might want to add to the signature of the email, but this is usually fine, so hit submit. And once that's done, we're going to move on to the sending the reports back to the office if this copier is under maintenance. You want to go to SMTP and go to email recipient 1. So enter in the office email up here. You'll want to enter the customer name in the subject line, and then followed with a space, and then the ID or asset tag of their machine. and then enter in one more space, and then leave this as it is from the machine. This will be in here by default. This will list their model number in the email subject line. Go down here, add toner, checkbox, tick that. Everything else will be sending a lot of extra emails that are unnecessary. This one just lets you know when they've installed a toner, or it actually says it'll when not installed, but it's asking for toner. And then check counter status down here. That way the counts come with the email when the toner message comes through. And then if it's on maintenance, you can choose monthly and the day that you want it to come. I recommend choosing 9 a.m. Most machines are turned on by then. If they don't have faxes, 9 o'clock usually seems to work. That's pretty much it. Leave the interval at 10 minutes, otherwise you'll get a lot of extra emails you don't want. In this case, this is our copier. We're not going to turn that on, so we'll just leave it go. If you have this off, you'll still get emails for add toner and such. Hit submit. That's pretty much it for that. If you want to set up scan to folder, we'll go back to the home button here. You do this through the address book. Click that. And then what you do for this is you can hit add contact. I do believe we already have one here, so we'll just use that as an example. There we go. So down here we have this this one here I named scans. You can enter the IP address or the host name of the computer. Usually both work, doesn't matter. I prefer the host name, so in case something changes, it's you always have the updated thing. So for this to work, what you need to do is start out by finding the folder that you're going to use to scan to. So in this case, I'm putting it on the shortcut. The folder will be on my desktop, so I'll just say test scans. Let's right click on that and go down to properties. You hit sharing tab on the middle here, and you're going to go down to advanced sharing and check this to share the folder. And if you want to change the share name, you can change it here. Mine's fine. You might want to change this if you have a you're updating an older scan folder for someone, and then the name changed whenever you open this. You might want to make it to whatever it was. That's fine. Hit permissions here, and you want to check allow everyone on the share, and then hit OK. And then you'll be given a path here for this. I usually copy these to a notepad for later reference. So in this case, I have my the first part is the host name here. This is arbitrary. It can be whatever your machine name is called. And then test scans is my path. Since I shared it, I don't have to have the C drive and all the other folders listed below in the hierarchy. So this is fine. So I'll go ahead and pop this over here, and I'll pull up this page, and we're going to put in the host name. There we go. No need to put any of the slashes in. It already does that for you. And now test scans. So now the next thing I need is the username. So we're going to bring up the run box here. So press the Windows key and R. And you want to type in this case, control user passwords 2. If you're on Windows Home, you'll want to use control window passwords without the 2. But Windows Pro and up, this is what you'll use. So I have my account right here. So we'll just double click on this. This is my login. On a computer with more users, you might see more. In my case, this is not always the username. It could be the email. So you want to double click on it and get the actual username. So it's dgetler. And we'll hit OK. And I know my password in this case, but if the customer did not have a password, you'll want to set them one. And you can do that. Under Pro users can do this, and Home users will have to go under the control panel and go to users and add a password. So click on Advanced, then go to Advanced User Management, and double click under the users group right here. So here is my account, dgetler. You can simply right click on this and say set password, whatever you need it to be. And I already know mine, so I'm going to enter it in here. And once you think you have this set up right, we'll hit test. This is accurate. This will work every time. Unless, of course, you have a firewall that might get in the way. So connection was successful. We're all good. Hit OK. And then before you do anything else, save it. So hit submit. Okay. And now we've successfully set up a machine. Now we're just going to test the email portion to make sure that works. So we'll go back to email. We've already entered in the DNS, but I haven't rebooted. This machine is being worked on, so we're not actually going to reboot it right now. The easiest way to get back to that if you need to reboot is just go to TCP/IP and click on reset, and you can click restart. This machine's already fine. It's already been working, so we're good there. We don't have to wait for it to reboot. We'll go back to SMTP server. We're going to hit test. Okay, we're happy there. Let's go to notification maintenance. This will actually send a physical email. Oh, I'm sorry, not notification maintenance. SMTP email recipient 1. We're going to send an email out, and this will let us know if it's actually working. Just verify with the recipient to make sure they got their message. Okay, looks like we're all good to go. Email's working, and if for some reason you're getting an error message and you're not sure what's going on, you can always go back to the basic tab here and go to time, and we can synchronize this time right now. It does synchronize when the machine does turn on, but in case you're wondering if DNS is working, some routers that you connect to, such as like a Windows domain server that's doing the routing, doesn't always play nice. You might have to restart the server before this works, but you hit synchronize and it'll tell you if it's working. If this says successful, email shouldn't be blocked. It should be fine. You hit it again. Sometimes it'll say failed. You can click it again, and it'll tell you if it still says failed. You probably have a DNS issue, but in this case, we're fine. So that pretty much concludes the setup of the Kyocera Command Center. Thank you very much.